Studios. This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right. I got to get out more often, Robin. I got to do more. I got to get out. I live vicariously through other people. I'm doing it right now with this book.
Yeah, it's a wonderful book.
When you first see the title, you're not so sure what this is. But let me tell you, this is a book that will make you want to start getting out more. Moon Camino de Santiago is the book we're going to talk about. It's written by our guest, Beebe Bahrami. She's on the phone. I thought we spoke to her once before. The name and her voice, everything sounds familiar. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. But anyway, so this book is number 1. Did you know that?
I did not. I think it's a marvelous book. It's fabulous.
I'm looking at her other books. I don't know. I don't recognize those covers. Okay, maybe I'm just remembering wrong. Okay, so this is number 1 on Amazon in French travel. This is a place in France?
In France.
Is that where it is?
I'm not exactly sure. That's why I'm waiting to talk to Beebe.
Look at a little dog out there. Okay, Beebe Bahrami. Good morning, Beebe. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from southern New Jersey, so I'm in the United States right now.
Southern New Jersey. All right, that sounds like home to me. but I still want to go someplace. So where does this take place? Wait a minute. What is the book? Is it a travel guide?
It is, yes. I mean, I'm a travel writer, usually of narrative travel, but I also write travel guides, and this is a guidebook, and it's chock full of rich information that's practical to very informative and experiential. But, the Camino de Santiago is actually a large network of routes that cross all across Europe and then through France and join in Spain and make their way to northwestern Spain to the holy city of Santiago de Compostela. And this guidebook covers the most famous route that starts in the Pyrenees on the French side of the Atlantic Pyrenees, crosses over and goes all the way across northern Spain to the coast, actually, past Santiago de Compostela.
It's 1,200 miles?
It is 1,200 years old, but 500 miles long.
500 miles. Okay, did you walk the whole thing?
I did, many times.
Many times? How far did you go? I mean, each day. How far do you go each day?
Each day is different, but I averaged probably about 15 miles a day. Some people do more, some people do less.
Can I ask, are you alone when you do this? Oh, there you are. I see your picture. I want to be you. Wait a minute. I want to do this. This looks like fun, Robin.
I know. It looks great.
What do you do for money? How do you make money when you do this? You sell books?
Well, not much, but I hope soon. Yeah, selling books.
Well, this is fun.
The life of a travel writer is not lucrative, but it certainly does invite the open road.
Did you take all the photos in the book as well as the writing?
I took pretty much all of them except for something like 12 to 14 of the photos. So the other few hundred are mine.
What is this? There's a statue here. It looks like Beavis and Butthead hugging. What is that?
Oh.
Say that again. I didn't catch that.
Do you have the book in front of you?
I do.
Okay. Can you turn to page 131?
131. Yeah, I'm on it.
131. You see it? Doesn't that look like Beavis and Butthead hugging in that picture? What is that?
Well, Larry, that is actually a scene of Mary and Elizabeth hugging.
That is not Mary and Elizabeth.
Yeah, Mother Mary and Elizabeth. Yeah, when Elizabeth goes to tell Mary that she too is pregnant and carrying John the Baptist.
I am going to be struck down by lightning today. It's Good Friday.
No, you're not.
No? Well, but look at the one on the left. Doesn't that look like one of those Beavis and Butthead characters?
Yeah, well, you're making a great point because that's a Romanesque sculpture in the Church of San Miguel in Estella on the Camino, and it was carved during a time when stonemasons really were given a lot of license in how to express stories, not just the sacred stories from the Bible, but also local folkloric stories. So there's a lot of expression and humanity in the Romanesque style, and I actually love that period of art history because, you see stuff like that. You connect to it. You think, my God, it's Beavis and Butthead.
Oh my gosh! In the back of the book, you have a map. I'm opening the map. I want to see this. So this will show me the whole trail. Oh, look at this!
It's a pull-out map.
Yeah, I'm pulling it out.
I mean, the book itself has a lot of maps in the pages, but then there's this pull-out map that's topographical, and it covers the entire trail. Yeah, the entire, actually 600 miles of the trail, because it goes all the way to the coast.
So what? Tell me the history behind you doing it. When did you first do it? Were you alone when you walked it?
The first time I did it, I was not alone, and I wasn't even planning on walking it, though I had it in my mind that one day I wanted to walk the whole trail. I was doing archival research in southwestern Spain to finish my dissertation in anthropology, and I met my husband in Portugal, and we took the train north to Galicia, that northwestern corner of Spain, planning just to go to Santiago de Compostela. And I was thinking I wanted to see what it was all about and then go back home and plan walking it. But as the train was making its way, we just looked at each other and said, why don't we just walk? And we actually jumped off a moving train. It had just stopped briefly. And we leapt and had no preparation whatsoever, no food, no water, no map, no idea what we were doing. And that was when the magic of the pilgrimage route met us, because locals immediately recognized us as pilgrims and started helping. And they gave us water, and they gave us food, and they gave us shelter. And we were in a remote area, so it was pretty magical.
So they call you pilgrims. See, we call them tourists in Florida.
The photographs are absolutely wonderful. Some of them look like
Thank
paintings, especially the night scenes.
Thank you. You know, the Camino is so beautiful, both its nature and its cultural legacy, that it's just really easy to take beautiful photographs.
So did you find some of the food that you were eating to be weird? I mean, are you from Jersey?
No, I'm actually from Colorado.
Oh, from Colorado. Well, that's kind of the same. I mean, you're not eating red octopus legs, right?
No, you're not. I mean, there's definitely different food, but it's so delicious. I mean, I think the reason the Camino de Santiago exists, I mean, yes, it's a Christian pilgrimage route that's 1,200 years old, but there was something before that made people say, hey, let's walk that route, let's build it up and make it sacred. And I think that was that human beings have been traversing southwestern France and northern Spain for millennia because there's good food, there's good drink, there's good shelter, and that's what you still find today. These regions have old traditions of herding and farming and winemaking. I mean, the winemaking goes back 2,000 years, so they really know what they're doing.
So where do you start? And you start in France, you said, right?
Yeah, you start in France, in the Pyrenees, right at the foothills of the mountains, in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. It's this beautiful little French mountain town that has been welcoming pilgrims for 1,200 years. And your first day is crossing the Pyrenees, so it's not an easy first day. You traverse the entire Pyrenees and you land in Spain.
I'm looking at that. So then if I did this, right? I don't know how far I would get, but how would I pay for anything? I mean, did you have a MasterCard or something?
Well, the good news is that this is a very economical trip, because you could budget, say, 30 euros a day. So what is that, like $40? That would cover your lodging in a pilgrim's dorm and your meals, and you're walking, so you're not paying for any transportation except for your shoes.
Right.
And but it is mostly a cash economy unless you stay in the more upscale accommodations, and those also exist on the Camino. But by and large, people should always have cash in their pocket, and most of the cafes and restaurants and pilgrims lodging all operate on cash.
And there's no worry that some bad guy's going to come over and say, give me your money?
Well, you should always keep your street smarts.
Keep your street smarts. Okay.
Yeah, but this is one of the safest routes in the world, and I think it's safer even from theft than where I live in the United States. And we're lucky because in the modern era, there are a lot of locals. The police are always on alert and watching.
And they're okay. They like us.
they like us very much.
So,
yeah.
So what about language? Did you Spanish and French would be the two languages? Are you okay with? Can you speak both of them?
I can, yes. Over the years, I learned, and it's a part of the rich experience. But people don't need to know those two languages to walk this and experience it. There's people from 140 nations around the world and more who are walking the trail. So it's like this walking United Nations.
The book is really well done. I just wanted to compliment the book. I'm flipping through it as you're talking.
What do you recommend for parents traveling with their children?
Oh, wow. This is a terrific experience. For one thing, I would really recommend that they do it because families, they have their own kind of special experience. The Spanish and the French really love families, and so children are welcome everywhere. The pilgrims' dorms, the hotels, the restaurants, the cafes, and people really show up to help. I mean, I met a family, they were walking with their 1-year-old child.
Oh my gosh, really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and they were there with their parents, so the grandparents were there, the parents, and then a friend of one of the parents. And they were just making their jolly way across the north of Spain, and opportunities and accommodations opened up to them that weren't there for anyone else, because the Spanish just loved seeing this family coming.
So tell me the connection to the religious aspect of this. I mean, was this part of your reason for doing it, or did you just want to take a walk? I mean, what? Yeah, well, how does it become? Why is it a pilgrimage? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of churches in the book, so.
Right, yeah, all of the above. For one thing, it's an ecumenical road. It's open to everyone. You don't have to be Catholic or Christian to walk it, and you are so welcome, and you experience the spirituality as much as the great adventure of walking in nature and through these cultural landscapes as well. But for, the road itself, it became Christian when in the early 9th century, this is all legend. There's nothing historical that can back this up, but it's a very rich, enticing legend. Around 814, a hermit named Pelayo, off in the northwest of Spain, saw a raining of stars, and he followed them in the sky. Now you can imagine what this is the Milky Way, because this is also called the Path of the Milky Way. And they pointed out this hilltop that is today Santiago de Compostela, and there he realized that something magnificent was buried, and it was revealed to him that the tomb of St. James the Greater, one of the 12 apostles of Christ, and one of the 3 who is the closest to Jesus, was buried there. Now, there's no historical proof of this.
Okay, now I'm making the connection, yeah.
It's very compelling, it was a time where it was harder and harder to travel to Jerusalem to make pilgrimage, and harder to even get to Rome for pilgrimage, so people started saying, how about that remote northwestern corner? And now we've got our own apostle.
Okay, but you wouldn't want to fly all the way to the end. I mean, you fly to the beginning, and then you walk to the end, right?
Yeah, that's a great question, because today most people, when they say they're going to a pilgrimage site, they fly or they take a bus or they drive.
Right.
But this is one of the few historic pilgrimages in the world today where the experience is actually walking to Santiago de Compostela. The really common saying is that St. James is on the trail. He's not necessarily in Santiago.
And one of the wonderful things about your book also is about packing, because I tend to overpack when I travel places, but this is something that I think you just need a pair of comfortable shoes, maybe one outfit for each kind of weather that might be there, and you're done.
Pretty much. I mean, the beauty of this trail is it has all of that wild excitement that you can get on the Appalachian Trail, but it has so much support. You can't walk, too far without finding not only a cafe to rest and eat, but someplace to stop, or, somebody who might sell you something you forgot to pack, including, all kinds of first aid things. So you really don't have to take a lot. And it's a great exercise in learning to live simply and realizing how much you really don't need.
Okay, so Moon, I was thinking the title was Moon Camino de Santiago, but Moon is the name of the travel company, right?
That's right. It is Moon handbooks or Moon guidebooks, and they're a part of Avalon Travel. And Avalon Travel is a part of the Hatchet Book Group. You know, they're all kind of subsidiaries.
You express in your book that there are different things going on for different times of the year, so it's best to do research on everything that's going on before you plan whatever time of year you're going on this pilgrimage.
Yes, absolutely. There are sections in my book, especially in the essentials part, where you're really planning to decide not only, you know, do you want to be there during certain festivals that happen in the summer, or do you want to be there around Easter? Like right now is a very colorful time to be walking the Camino, and or Christmas. And also, you know, what is your temperament? Do you want to meet a lot of people and have it be a very social thing? Then summer would be the time to walk. But maybe you want to have time for solitude and quiet, so autumn or winter could be ideal.
So did you ever walk it completely alone, just yourself?
Most of the time I do walk alone, and you know, after that first time with my husband, part of my own anthropological research that took me to Spain was this literature that talked about the north of Spain having a very strong traditional matriarchal culture. And after walking with my husband that first time, I discovered it's not just a theory. There actually is this precedent for women having more social presence and power. And that what goes along with that is it tends to be a little safer, too, for women. I mean, it's not perfect.
I had a very strong matriarchal culture in my family.
Well, then you'll feel at home in the north of Spain.
Do you have to worry about pirates? I mean, we also hear about the pirates out there, too.
That was a problem in the Middle Ages. They've taken care of that.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
Right now, the biggest problem is the pilgrim you might meet who talks too much when you don't want to talk, and blisters if you didn't get yourself the right pair of walking shoes.
Yeah, I think we have all the pirates. They're in Disney World. I've seen them myself.
That's right. They have work there.
they found some employment down there.
Yeah.
So when parents do bring their children, and if their children are toddlers, you don't recommend things like strollers, right?
They're actually, you can take strollers. If you ever saw the movie, it came out, it's by Canadian filmmaker Lydia Smith, called 6 Ways on the Camino. I believe that's the title. One of the people she followed on doing their Camino was a French mother with her child, and she had a stroller. And, you know, I mean, she was pushing it up these rocky hills, and people would show up and help. You know, so it's possible.
Did you have matches with you? I mean, how do you? Was it cold or hot, or how did you sleep?
Yeah.
You slept in little cottages, right?
Or pilgrims' dorms are called albergues, and they're like hostels, only they're really outfitted to serve pilgrims. And you know, you pay like they can be dorm rooms. Some of these albergues also have private rooms. You pay a little bit more, but you pay like, you know, anywhere from €6 to €15 a night for a bed. And then if you pay another extra €10 or €9, some of these albergues serve communal dinners that are 3-course meals that are coming from local harvest from nearby farms. And
wow.
You might be able to get breakfast there in the morning. So it's really catering to...
I mean, what do you do when you're not doing this? This sounds like completely the opposite of what I do.
I think this would be great.
I want to do this, yeah.
Yeah, you just, you know, it's like a chance to unplug from everyday life and get back in touch with yourself and with the earth. And you just spend the day walking, and then you find a place to sleep, and you eat, and you sleep, and you start walking the next morning. But it's not so simple, though, because every day is different, and it's rich, and it brings up a lot of uncanny things that people talk about, and they're amazed, you know, a lot of trail magic, and also your dreams start getting a lot more vivid and deeper.
Your dreams, like when you're sleeping?
Yeah, because you're walking like maybe 6 to 8 hours a day.
Yeah. You're
You're unplugged from the life that you've left.
Right.
Some people choose not to even take their phones, to really unplug. And it's like all this stuff inside you just has a chance to start coming to the surface.
I want to hear more about that. So what did you dream? Did you... I mean, did you...
Oh my God, my dreams started becoming like these feature films, that they would just be very vivid and full color, and I would wake up remembering all the details, so I'd write them down in my journal, and they would often, especially the first times that I walked the Camino, they would really bring up stuff like I dreamt about people who had died, and they would come back and tell me things, or I had a dream about my own funeral.
Oh.
But then that's kind of like, but it's not all that, morbid,
I want to hear about that. What happened? Well, how old were you when you died? I mean, do you know?
I was the age I was at that Camino. So
okay, so you got past it. Okay, good. Well, maybe something was going on. Maybe it was warning you, don't walk that day or something.
It was just, you deal with stuff that's more primal to life, because you don't have the distractions of everyday life to put it aside. But then there were really great dreams too, just fantastic dreams of just exploring and traveling and having these merging different worlds, like my work world suddenly showed up on the Camino and it worked.
Are you religious?
I am spiritual, and I feel that all religions have a grace and a wisdom.
Right, but I mean, did you have like a religious? Was it religious in nature, or maybe the word spiritual is more appropriate? I mean, was the walk itself a way to commune with God or with the universe, or however you would whatever you would prefer me to ask that? However,
very much, and I think if you ask different people, they would say it was religious, and other would say spiritual. But it's both. That experience is there, and it's very organic. It can happen like you just step into a beautiful medieval church. Like for me, the chapel of Unate, which is in Navarra. It's in the early part of the Camino, and it's one of the highlights I point out in my guidebook. It's just a stunning octagonal church, and it has this ring of arches around the outside of it. And I just went in there and sat down, and on the altar is this beautiful medieval wood-carved, polychrome painted or multicolored painted statue of Mary. And I just closed my eyes, and I felt just such a rush of peace and clarity and energy just flowing through me. And I thought, well, that's pretty darn good. I would call that both religious and spiritual.
Yeah, I mean, all those Bible people, they always had dreams, and the dreams were considered important, right?
Yeah. I think ancient people, whether Bible or not, all had dreams, and dreams were considered important. It's a part of your mind, your subconscious mind, and your spirit telling you things.
So I have two questions. Are you going back?
Yes.
Are you on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
So can I go with you vicariously? Can I be a friend of yours, and are you going to post pictures?
I would be honored, please. Yes.
All right, so I'll find you on Facebook.
I also have a blog. I also write a blog called The Pilgrim's Way Cafe, and I'll be sure to post there as well.
Oh, well, that's better. Let me. So what's the website?
It's called The Pilgrim's Way Cafe.
Pilgrim's Way Cafe. Okay.
What is wine the staple beverage of choice there?
It definitely is available for people who love wine, and it's wine made from that particular region. Sometimes you'll be in an albergue where the wine is made by the sister or brother or uncle of the person who's serving you dinner.
Oh, okay.
Delicious.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
pilgrimswaycafe.blogspot.com. I just found you. How do I become a member of this? I got to click on something.
I think there's a follow button.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be vicariously living through you.
Well, I hope that you'll be out there walking it, and you'll let me know. Maybe
I will. I got to get a day off, though. It's going to be hard. Oh my God!
I hear you.
Oh, you're
that
so
is
fun.
A challenge. Yeah,
you're fun. So, how's your husband? Is he okay? He didn't get blisters, did he?
No, he didn't. He's a natural explorer and trekker, and he's the original sort of catalyst for all this. He knew I wanted to do this, and then when the opportunity came, he's the one who said, "Let's leap."
Really? So what's
this is
his,
wonderful. Sign me up.
What's his first name?
His first name is Birch.
Birch
and Beebe.
Yeah.
Okay. Beebe, thank you for being on the air with us. That was fun. I'm telling you, the book is awesome. No wonder it's number one. So we can get it on Amazon. I would say I'll go to. Do you have a different website besides the Blogspot site that I went to?
I do. Yeah, I have my own website. It's just my name, beebebahrami.weebly.com.
Weebly. Oh my gosh, so many words.
Yeah.
Beebe?
But you can also go to moon.com to find out more about the guidebook.
Also, okay, excellent. And I'm going to find you on Facebook, I think, if I can do that. Okay.
I'm honored. Thank you.
Beebe, thank you. No, we're honored, and be careful out there.
Thank you. You do. I hope I'll see you on the show. Let me know.
All right. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. A 48-year-old man